Hi guys, welcome back to this last in the series of retrospective viewings of the Call of Duty series. Now this one, to wrap the whole series up, is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And I really don't know where to begin with this, in my opinion. It's such a tricky one, because on one hand it kind of, well, I would never really say it's my favourite, but I mean it's kind of up there. And then on the next minute, I just want to avoid it like the plague, for reasons which I'll go into. But I mean, as you can see, the intro's here now. I'm talking over the top of it. I won't really let the intro play out in silence, as it were, or with the background music, because it's nothing spectacular. Although in saying that, I know it sounds a little bit weird. I kind of like the way it looks with the green and what have you. It looks very, very artsy and very, I don't know what I mean actually. I just like the look of it. It looks very nice with the green on there. Green and neon lights, very, very pretty. That sounds a bit camp. You know what I mean. Anyway, let's hastily move on. Yes, I mean Modern Warfare 2. I mean, when this one first came out, obviously I, probably like yourself, or even if you don't like Call of Duty, you'll accept that, the majority of gamers were really excited about this. It was going to be the next best thing on the market, the next best thing since sliced bread. And it just hasn't really fulfilled all its potential, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Now, straight off the bat, I'm a huge Modern Warfare fan. So I'm not coming from this from any other angle, other than as a fan of the series, I wanted this to succeed. And when you judge it as just a single-player experience in terms of the gameplay, and even the story's not too bad, but the gameplay's fine. There's nothing wrong with it as such. A couple of contentious issues, one in particular. One for me is probably the length of the actual game. It doesn't take many hours to complete it. I mean, I guess that's kind of common these days in games anyway. A lot of game makers out there taking liberties, shall we say, and releasing games which, I mean, if they're going to be charging, 40, 50 quid or $60, whatever it might be, you expect a lot more bang for your buck, as the saying goes. And I just never really got this. But the biggest problem of all is not so much the fact that the game can be completed within 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever it is, maybe even less. It's the fact that, these days I tend to put my games on veteran straight away. Now, if it's immensely difficult, I will go back. For example, like Gears of War, I found that really tough. Is it Insane? Is that the hardest level? I just found it tough. Maybe you're watching this and thought it was easy. Well, I guess we all have different levels, skill levels on different games, but I found that hard, so I kind of completed it on the easiest or normal or whatever it was. But for this, I just stuck it right on veteran because I wanted a bit of a challenge. I'm used to the Call of Duty games anyway. I'm used to how they play. I know what to do, all that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd put it on veteran, and I blitzed through it. I didn't time myself playing it. I wasn't banking on completing it really quickly and so easily, but I did, and it was all over in like I said, just the space of a few hours. Hardly any continues that I used. I just kind of blitzed through the game, and then maybe saved it and went back to it the next day and started again. Maybe had to restart the mission once or twice, and that was it. And I was really disappointed at how easy it was. In saying that, it doesn't really surprise me, particularly with Call of Duty, because my feeling with this game is that it's really all about online with Call of Duty. So it's almost as if the developers kind of turned a bit of a blind eye and just said, well, let's just tag it on, or we'll tag along a single player mission just for the sake of it. Everyone's going to be playing it multiplayer anyway, so let's not make it too difficult. That's what it seems, which shouldn't be the view. They shouldn't adopt that attitude, but that's what it seemingly appears. So I was disappointed with that, with like I say, with the length of the game and the difficulty, or the lack of difficulty, I should say. Now, another problem that I had with the game, I think it's third, fourth mission in maybe. It's that very controversial, the one where you basically shooting, or to be fair, you have the option of not shooting them, and you even have the option of not playing the level. But that level where you're going through the airport, the civilians are there, and you're shooting them, or the other guys in the group, the bad guys who you're kind of pretending to be with. They're just going around shooting. I just found that really... I don't know. I know it's only a game. I don't need anyone to point that out to me. But I just felt it was unnecessary and a little bit distasteful. And not just that, but I can almost turn a blind eye sometimes to things like that. it's relevant, but I didn't really find it relevant. It's not as if, you know, in hindsight after playing the game, I can look back and go, oh, well, they actually needed that to tell the story. They didn't. It's just like they put it in there for a bit of shock factor, get a lot more attention to it, and sometimes bad attention isn't good attention. It might be in terms of sales for them, but it kind of harms the gaming community in a way, because ultimately people are going to try and get them things banned, or, you know, it just gives negative publicity to gamers, and I felt that was unnecessary, and I didn't like it. I did play the mission. I didn't skip it because I'm one of these people. I want to see what it's all about before I start criticising something. You know, I don't want to like just not see it and then just listen to someone else. I've got to see it for myself, and then I've got my own formulated adult opinion. And so I did play through it. I didn't shoot anyone, but I kind of played through it a little bit in disgust is a strong word, I guess. But just you know, like shaking my head, thinking this is silly. Silly, really, I guess is a good word. Almost immature, you could say. And as I've said before, without meaning to offend anyone who's seriously into Modern Warfare 2, it strikes me as if Modern Warfare 2 is almost for the immature gamer, and Modern Warfare is for the slightly mature gamer. That's the way I kind of view it. And I'm just really disappointed with Infinity Ward with this effort, because, you know, it seems as if they listen to a lot of the fans, which on one hand is great, because it's, you know, the game makers listening to the community. But as a result, their online game, which we'll come to shortly, I cover it for maybe 5 minutes or whatever it is, it's full of flaws for me. Whether it be glitches, whether it be campers, etc., etc., and it just, and all these little call signs, which I just briefly talked about in the last video for Modern Warfare. You know, when you can select a call sign and all this kind of stuff, and little emblems with little logos and phrases on there, which are the kind of thing you'd say when you're like 10. And here's me, you know, in my 30s, this is ridiculous. You know, I'm playing this thinking this is silly. You know, I really don't associate myself with any of this. Like, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it almost slightly puts me off from playing the game. But like I say, this is a single-player game, and I mean, in a nutshell, to sum up the single-player game, I mean, I do really enjoy it. It's good to play through, the controls are solid, it's just like any other Call of Duty game, or the majority of first-person shooters. Plays well, decent story, it's very short, but it is very, very easy. And will I play through it again? Well, probably not. I don't see why I would. You know, I've completed it actually on the PS3, so I guess if I wanted, just for the sake of getting the achievements, I could do it on the 360. But I've no real desire to do that, because I've finished it already, I know what happens, and it'll just be really a waste of time. I don't know, like I said before, the one thing which really disappoints me most of all is the fact that I wanted this to be really good. And I think that's why I'm so disappointed in it. It's not so much that I'm being critical for the sake of being critical, it's because I expected more, and it's somewhat disappointed me after looking forward to it for so long that it turns out to be a bit of a damp squid. Now, you know, again, I want to reiterate that it plays well, it's a good game, you know, it's kind of deserving of its, you know, 9 out of 10s or whatever it gets. But I just feel as if it was just more of the same, they didn't really move on. And for me personally, I essentially bought the game, yes, to enjoy the single player, but also to enjoy the multiplayer. But I guess that's nicely timed, because this is something I did like in the game. And there's 23 missions altogether in the Spec Ops game. Now, like I said, you can either do this individually, or you can do it co-op, you know, with someone obviously online, a friend, or just a random for that matter. And this to me adds a lot of longevity and replayability to the game. And it's pretty tense as well, you know, chipping away at the target there, you can see 28 kills needed, well now it's down to 25, 24. And what you definitely find, whether it's single player or whether you're doing it with a friend, like I say, you definitely find that it does get very tense, especially when there's a few people left and you don't want to screw up, you know. Now you can revive your buddy, you know, and vice versa. So that's a good thing about that. Whereas if you're doing it single player, then, you know, you've really got to take your time and don't do anything silly, because then you'll just literally have to start the mission from scratch. So here, as you can see, I've nearly completed the mission, 3 left. Now I kind of get 2 in 1 here. There's that guy, shoot him, and then shoot the other guy. And I can see he's lying on his back, so he's injured. So it's just a case of figuring out where the other guy is, there he is, and then pulling out the old trusty shotgun, and then go and saying happy birthday to this fella. There you go. Nice and simple. Mission accomplished. Mission success. So yeah, so Spec Ops overall, I think is a great success. So, which leads me on, again, very nicely to the multiplayer. And, oh man alive, where do I start with this? It ranges from amazing to, you know, awful. My biggest complaints in it, apart from your glitches, your people who camp, I guess there's nothing really wrong with camping. I don't know, it just adds to the list of annoyances for me. I do it myself at times, I certainly do it in this video. But when I camp, I kind of camp and run. You know, like that makes it a little bit better. I don't stay in the same place. I might sort of stay somewhere, shoot someone, go on to somewhere else. But it depends what level I'm on, what kind of map it is, am I comfortable with the map? You know, sometimes, as you've probably seen from some of my other videos, I love sniping. I don't really tend to snipe on this game. For me, the maps don't really work for snipers. There's the odd one here and there, of course. But, yeah, I tend to run and gun. And, you know, but I tell you what, another one of my annoyances, and I did it in this video, I resorted to it myself because I thought, if you can't beat them, join them. But it just reminded me, going back to this game earlier on this morning, you know, when I was recording these clips, it just reminded me how annoying noob-tubers are. You know, and I can honestly count on, let's say 2 hands. I was going to say 1, that might be pushing it. I can count on 2 hands the amount of people I have killed on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 with a noob tube. It's just something I just do not do because I find it annoying. It's almost like a cheap kill. You know, you don't really need any skill to do it. You just fire this bloody thing off and it kills 1 or 2 people or whatever. But I thought, you know what? Seeing as I'm making the video and criticising people about it, I'm going to pull the old trusty noob tube out myself. And, you know, kind of really just go for it and just shoot a few people, see what they think of it. And I'm sure they're there probably swearing at the screens. So look, stuff like this. A random shot. I didn't have a clue anyone was there. All there, and all of a sudden pull off kills. And it's just the most irritating thing in the world. In saying that, I do kind of like the noise it makes, you know, when you're putting the tube in and then when it fires. But in all seriousness, you know, I just, occasionally, like a situation like that, I knew a guy was in there, and he was kind of camping a little bit. And I thought, well, I'll fire a noob tube. And for situations like that, it can be handy. But for people who go around just firing it needlessly, look at that guy, by the way, like flying at me like some kind of bloody Cape Crusader. But yeah, I mean, here we are again. Look at this. And a quick double kill with the noob tube. Yeah. I feel almost embarrassed kind of putting it on. But I don't usually do that. Just did it for the sake of the video. But that's one of my big gripes of the game, people going around doing that. But altogether, I mean, the maps are quite good. The multiplayer online, it's a good game. If you like Modern Warfare, you're going to like Modern Warfare 2. I'm not so much criticising the gameplay, as I've said. It's fantastic, it's addictive, it's high adrenaline stuff. Even though I said I wasn't camping before, I do tend to camp in this position for quite some time. See a little guy sneakily moving there. Bit of leggage, I see him moving out of the corner, so I thought, right, shoot him. And, but yeah, so like I say, it is a solid game. I do enjoy it online, but I've got to be honest, I don't really play it these days. In fact, this is the first time I've gone back to it for a good few weeks. And I suspect that when Black Ops comes out, I won't be touching it at all. Or seldom touching it anyway. So anyway, I think I better wrap it up. It's been a pleasure doing these videos. I've got to be honest, it did become a bit of a chore as well. You know, the first couple were kind of, I was into it and I thought, oh Christ, I've got to do another 3. But I'm glad I've done it now. It's good to look back for me or for anyone else in the future who's watching this who might think, yeah, do you know what, I'm going to pick up World at War, or I'm going to pick up Call of Duty 2, and it might introduce them to a new game. So anyway, guys, I'm really curious to what you think of this, because it just feels as if all I've done is whinge through this bloody video and complain about it. So have I been too critical, or is it justified? I don't know. So let me know. And last but not least, like I say, pickups in my next video, so back to normality. So I'm looking forward to that. A few pickups to show. And yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. See you later.